Coming up on today's news, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns could be feuding until next year's WrestleMania. WWE has high hopes for some NXT call-ups. Tony Khan calls out SmackDown, and my review of SmackDown in about 5 minutes.
Support WrestleTalk!
On paper, the biggest match WWE can currently put on with people on their roster right now is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, and that match is currently scheduled to headline WWE's upcoming Crown Jewel show, but that may not be the only time we see it in the near future. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that WWE has plans in place to extend this feud until WrestleMania 38. That's a long time. He wrote, "From what we understand, and what makes sense, is this is not a one and done program. For one, unless Dwayne Johnson is wrestling Reigns at next year's WrestleMania, this would appear to be the best possible Mania match. So the idea here is to build to a return, whether that means Lesnar wins to build to a rematch or some disputed decision takes place. There is also Paul Heyman in play, as the storyline is written to tease that Heyman is a double agent and you don't know who he will side with when all the chips are down. Of course, plans are known to change fast and often in WWE, so the plans for WrestleMania could change completely by the time you watch this video. However, should another match between Reigns and Lesnar take place at WrestleMania 38, it would mark the third time they would face off on WWE's biggest stage. If the match goes on last, it will be only the first time that the same match would have main evented WrestleMania 3 times, because remember, the main event is the last match and only the last match, no matter what WWE tells you. Some days it feels like NXT stars have a better shot at winning the lottery than having success on the main roster. However, learning that WWE has high hopes for you is probably a good sign, I think. Such is reportedly the case for a number of newly drafted NXT stars. Dave Meltzer reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that folks in WWE have been looking at new Raw star Austin Theory and new SmackDown star Ridge Holland very highly. Meltzer's report states that those within WWE think Theory has a very good look. Theory already spent a short stint on the main roster in 2020, working alongside Andrade and Angel Garza, and later Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, before being sent back to NXT. WWE's thoughts on Ridge Holland are even more noteworthy, however, as Meltzer reports that those within the company see him as a future WWE champion. He is big, after all. Holland has yet to appear on SmackDown after being drafted on Monday's draft. He has been working alongside Pete Dunne in recent months, but you can expect him to be wrapping up his time in NXT in the near future. If there's anything that makes wrestling fans act rationally, it's competition between WWE and AEW. After AEW Rampage aired on Friday night, AEW President Tony Khan took to Twitter to call out WWE and SmackDown. Next week's supersized SmackDown is being advertised as a 2.5-hour show. If this is WWE flirting with making SmackDown longer, so help me God! But the change means that the last half hour of the show will air head-to-head with AEW Rampage. Khan tweeted, "I saw you're doing a half-hour head-to-head with us. I can't wait to finally beat your main show head-to-head. It's been a long time coming. See you next Friday for AEW Rampage." While Rampage has never come close to topping SmackDown in the ratings to this point, next week's SmackDown will air on FS1 due to the MLB playoffs. When the show has aired on FS1 in the past, their ratings have been considerably lower, so you never know. But you can rest assured that WWE and AEW fans will have a calm, rational response no matter what the outcome is. And now it's time for my review of last night's episode of SmackDown, the SmackDown premiere, in about 5 minutes. Thank you for being awesome, Pledge Hammers on Patreon. He's a sexy man. Sexy man. Not an Andrew Gross man. And he's no jackass Dano. You can get your own shoutouts and loads of extra bonus awesome WrestleTalk content, extra bonus content. Patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Go visit. I hope you're all ready for Positive Pete once again, because I'm absolutely positive that this episode was not very good. It's the season premiere of SmackDown, so we open up with some of the worst staging I've ever seen for a segment. Bianca Belair is in the ring, Becky Lynch is sitting on the ramp and has a table for some reason, and Sasha Banks is standing on the commentary table, as you do. It's one of those things that just pulls you out of the continuity of the WWE world and makes you go, oh yeah, this is all just part of the script. This all feels so unnatural and forced. After we get 2 back-to-back recap video packages, Bianca tells the 2 of them to get into the ring, and then like a dumb babyface, she turns her back on Banks and gets attacked from behind. Never could have seen that one coming. Bianca stands tall in the segment though, hitting an awesome looking KOD on Becky onto Banks through a table. Just turn the brain off, Pete. Just don't think about it. Look! Cool looking move. Don't think anything past that. Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn came next in the first match of the King of the Ring tournament, with WWE revealing Shinsuke Nakamura has officially given up his crown ahead of the matches starting. But he was the one true king of WWE according to Rick Boogs. What will he do now? This was a pretty fun match because both Rey and Sami are awesome, and the finish came when Sami took off the turnbuckle pad, so Dominic tried to put it back on, which distracted Rey, who got bonked into Dominic, and Sami rolled him up for the win. How will Rey and Dom coexist? Hit Row are coming soon. Seth backstage says he did nothing wrong by breaking into Edge's house. And then it was Zelina Vega versus Toni Storm in the first round of the Queen's Crown tournament. This match lasted 2 minutes, but in that time managed to rack up an ungodly amount of negatives for me, so here we go. Before the match, both of them had pre-recorded promos that once again felt so unnatural and scripted and entirely not believable. I'm just gonna read them out for you now. Zelina Vega said that when she becomes queen, she's going to rule with the divine heartlessness of Cleopatra, the strategic genius of Alexander the Great, and best of all, I will make each and every one of you kiss my ring. Meanwhile, Toni Storm's was somehow worse, with her saying if she wins, she's going to rule with the boldness of Joan Jett, the tenacity of Bruce Springsteen, and the epicness of Madonna. Who talks like that? Nobody. Nobody talks like that. The commentary then put over that Toni Storm really likes 80s music. That's it. That's her whole character now. She likes 80s music. So let's shoehorn in all these references because we don't actually know how to write actual characters with any semblance of depth whatsoever. So aside from the character assassination of Toni Storm, she then lost clean to Zelina Vega in 2 minutes, marking Zelina Vega's first clean win since her return to WWE. She then went on in the tournament, spoilers, to face Carmella in the next round, who beat Liv Morgan later in the show in 1 minute. How do you up this badly? The matches were too short, the wrong people won, the promos were catastrophically bad, and everyone came out looking worse than when they went in, with the exception of maybe Zelina Vega. That's it. Carmella didn't look better. Have you seen her mask? And just to hammer home how poorly this was booked, the time of both women's matches combined was 3 minutes and 46 seconds. Roman Reigns then entered, and excluding the ad break, the time it took between his music hitting and his music fading for his promo was 3 minutes and 55 seconds. Roman's entrance was longer than both women's matches combined for this supposedly historic Queen's Crown tournament. WWE do not give a shit, and it's so blatantly obvious that they don't, but people somehow still defend them, and I do not understand it. And of course, before Roman's entrance, we also got a recap package of Reigns and Lesnar that went 2 minutes and 15 seconds because that's what we needed. Roman tells San Jose to acknowledge him and says they should acknowledge Heyman too because he got the Usos on SmackDown. Glad that story got resolved. He then says Heyman should come clean about how Brock Lesnar became a free agent. So Heyman does a long-winded promo and doesn't answer the question. Roman seems satisfied with that, and then walks off. Seth Rollins is backstage with Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce and says that at the end of the night he's going to come out to the ring and he wants an answer from Edge for his challenge. Carmella vs. Liv Morgan came next, went a minute, Morgan lost. What was the point of having a win at Extreme Rules? And it's Carmella vs. Vega in the next round, instead of what could have been the quite interesting match of Storm vs. Morgan. Mace backstage cuts another terribly scripted promo. I'm not here to compete, I'm here to annihilate. Ugh. Happy Talk came next in an exact repeat of last week's segment, just without the match. It was so much of a repeat that they played the same video promo introducing who Madcap Moss is. Kevin Owens interrupted the show and got beaten up, and that was it. It was advertised as Happy Talk with guests being the Street Profits, so were the Profits just chilling in the back watching Owens get beaten up? They weren't on the rest of the show anywhere. Did they just go home? Then this show makes my head hurt. Naomi will be facing Sonya Deville next week. That's cool. In-ring return of Sonya. I do worry though that Sonya's gonna win. Don't do that, WWE. Finn Balor faced Cesaro next in another King of the Ring first round match, and it was great. These two are great. They had a great match. Balor won in the end, and it was all great. Just do more of this. Next week, it was announced as a super-sized SmackDown, going an extra half an hour, eating into the first half hour of AEW Rampage. Amazing. That's what we need. More SmackDown. And finally, Seth Rollins came out and demanded an answer from Edge, who eventually came out, went to do the crossface with the chair leg on him, but Seth escaped, and then Edge announced it will be a Hell in a Cell match between the two at Crown Jewel. But Edge, Hell in a Cell's already happened this year. You can't have Hell in a Cell matches not at Hell in a Cell. In all seriousness, this feud feels worthy of Hell in a Cell, and this is probably how they should be used more, not because it's that time of the year. This show was not great. The King of the Ring matches were great. The Queen's Crown tournament matches were dreadful, horribly booked, damaging, too short, and this is supposed to be their first big historic one. The whole show felt unnatural and forced, and the promos were terribly scripted, but Bianca did a cool looking KOD. Focus on that and not any of our other flaws. That makes up for it, right? No, it doesn't. This is a 2 out of 5 show. Sort your treatment of women who aren't the 4 horsewomen out, WWE. And now over to Tempest with a review of last night's AEW Rampage.
I said it last week, Jade Cargill is the first TBS champion. Book it. What's going on, WrestleTalk fans? Tempest is back with another review of AEW Rampage in about 3 minutes. So this show opened with CM Punk versus Daniel Garcia as Punk managed to get the win with the Anaconda Vice. Rampage has sort of become CM Punk's show since he made his debut in August, and it's easy to see why with matches like this. Honestly, this might be my favorite CM Punk match since he's arrived in AEW. Garcia is such a great technical wrestler. He's got that same level of quality that guys like Jonathan Gresham, Zack Sabre Jr., and Bryan Danielson all have. A guy with that level of skill can really have a good match with anybody, and when you mix in a guy with the experience and skill of CM Punk, you're destined for good things. It was really fun to see CM Punk sell his knee at the hands of Garcia and 2.0 before eventually fighting off all 3 men and locking in his old submission finisher. This was great stuff. This gets a 4 out of 5. We then had the AEW World Tag Team Championship match as the Lucha Brothers retained the titles against the Acclaimed. This was a fairly quick match. They did have 4 matches on this show, so they had to rush through things a little bit quicker than they normally would, but this was still tremendous fun. The Lucha Brothers are such a great team, and the Acclaimed have been built up very well that one of these days you think they might be able to capture these titles. Not tonight, but one of these days. Rey Fenix is just so quick in the ring. All of his offense looks clean and crisp and oh so dynamic. Ultimately, the Lucha Brothers were able to make their comeback and hit their tandem pile driver for the win. I don't know who they go after next, but I'm hoping it will be Santana and Ortiz at Full Gear. That match will steal the show. I almost guarantee it. 60% of the time, I'm right. Every time. This was another excellent tag match. This gets a 4 out of 5. Next up, Jade Cargill took on Sky Blue, and Jade won in a fairly quick fashion with the Jaded. The Jaded? Just Jaded? I don't know. Something about Jaded. There wasn't much to say about this match because it was so short, but it was still effective with Jade Cargill looking like an absolute superstar and a very cool finish as Jade was able to reverse a bulldog into her finish. There was nothing really to complain about here. It just could have been a little bit longer. After the match, Jade beat down on Sky Blue before Thunder Rosa ran out for the save. This was a pretty effective segment. This gets a 3 out of 5. We also got the announcement that next week the AAA tag team titles will be on the line as the Lucha Brothers defend against 2 masked men, and I'm not saying that it's El Fakador and myself, but I'm not saying it's not either. And then we had the main event, Philadelphia Street Fight, as Ricky Starks took on Brian Cage. This match certainly wasn't my favorite thing on the show. It's been really tough for Brian Cage as people really haven't latched onto him as a babyface, but Ricky Starks is just getting more and more over as a heel. So that heel-face dynamic didn't really work, albeit the action itself was pretty solid. Eventually, Taz sent Powerhouse Hobbs and Hook down to the ring as them two and Ricky Starks were able to overwhelm Brian Cage as Ricky Starks hit the Rochambeau on Cage for the win. Blood was streaming down Ricky Starks' face as he took a big headbutt into a steel chair, and the visual of him holding up Brian Cage while blood streamed down his face was just so cool. This was still an enjoyable main event, even though it wasn't my favorite thing on the show, and it's gonna get a 3 out of 5. I'm hoping this will be the end of the Ricky Starks-Brian Cage feud, even though I don't think it will be. I'm kind of ready to see Ricky Starks move on to other things. Overall, this show was very enjoyable. Still another very good episode of AEW Rampage. The first 2 matches really sold me. This gets a 4 out of 5 for the whole show. And that just about wraps it up from me. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this week's show and last night's SmackDown, make sure you go over to WrestleTalk podcast later on today, where myself and Chopper Pete will be breaking down both shows in complete detail. Until then, make sure you have yourself a lovely day, but only if you're part of LIW for life.
So I'm looking at the roster right now for SmackDown. All right, Ridge Holland is definitely an option. He's on SmackDown. I'm going back to that.
He's going to be like,
Isaiah
boys down good.
I came up from the streets and now I'm a king.
Look at me, I was eating beef crisps last week and now foie gras.
It's like a jewel-encrusted flat cap. Oh, I'm from the streets of Birmingham.